All right, we've been talking about this all week. We talked about this for the last couple of weeks. We know the schedule. We know it looks light. We know a lot of people are saying we could take a step back and we could potentially lose one, maybe two. Most folks are projecting a 10-win season. I'm 10. I'm at a minimum of 10, although I'm thinking it's going to be more like 11-1. Most folks are saying we're going to go 10 and not make it back to the conference championship. We shall see. I'm going to ask you first. Who's the opponent you most feared this season?
To be honest, I mean, there's two. There's actually two, and I kind of agree with Golden Blue dude. But well, first off, South Carolina. I think South Carolina's going to come up. I think we may have a little bit of trouble with them, and even you and I were talking about Kentucky, but I mean, I'm more worried about South Carolina, just for the simple fact. I mean, I just think we might have trouble with them. I think they're coming up. They're not the South Carolina of old, and but what we were talking about before, that the Oregon game is going to be the litmus test, like Clemson was last year. I kind of have a better feeling, but I am kind of concerned with South Carolina this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I do agree with you. Shane Beamer definitely picked up and came in and picked up and did exceptionally well for someone taking over a program that was in the condition it was in when he took it over. And then he's also adding Spencer Rattler. So Spencer's getting a reboot. One of the biggest things, I don't think Spencer Rattler was a bad quarterback. I do think that Lincoln Riley's strength is offense, and I think it is time for OU, if Alex Grinch does not perform this season, for him to go on about his merry way. Their weakness was their defense. Oklahoma was always playing for their life in just about every game because they couldn't get any ground on their opponents because their opponents were scoring just as easily as they were. So We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with him in South Carolina. I'm going to go with Mr. Spencer. Sean Spencer made me a believer in this team, and I laughed when he told me. This is another team I laughed about.
I was in agreement too.
The Kentucky Wildcats. Mark Stoops has taken that team. They're not that school is not just a basketball school anymore. They're a legitimate contender in the East. They've been a legitimate contender in the East pretty much just about every year since Mark Stoops came into the program. And he's got his quarterback coming back, and he's got his running back coming back, and he's got a couple of stud receivers coming back. So that is the team that I fear the most. I don't know. I'm going to have to watch a few games to see how Georgia plays before I decide whether or not to reach out to Mr. Wesley Gaines with another challenge. Because, we gave Wesley the blues last year because that defense was holding people to like 3 points a game at that point, and nobody had scored a touchdown against the defense before we played them.
Be sure to like and subscribe for content and more on your new home for podcasts and independent music on the Zagnif One Radio Network.